All right, hi guys. So today, I wanted to do things a little bit different. We're not going to do a PowerPoint. I've actually started a blog for us here. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep blogging. Well, I'm going to keep blogging into this blog for us to have something to remember, a guide for us to go to and build on as we learn our genres, okay, for library. So today, we're going to start. As you see, the blog is called Ms. Whitfield's Library Necessities. All right. And our lesson is on genres. So, a genre is a style or a type of something, in our case, books. Okay. So, we classify books between nonfiction and fiction. The difference between nonfiction and fiction is nonfiction means true or factual, and fiction means made up or imaginary. So, one way for us to remember those, I think many of you do remember those, I remember from last year. Non means not, right? And fiction means made up, right? So non means not made up or not fake, because you have the non and then you have the F. So that helps you remember not fake. And then fiction, because it doesn't have the non in front of it and just the F, we remember that by fake or made up, okay? There are several types of both nonfiction and fiction genres, but first we're going to start with the study of fiction genres, okay? So, there are many types of fiction genres, including realistic, which means things are made up, but they could realistically happen, so they can really happen in real life. Fantasy, it has animals or made up creatures or some type of things that we know we wouldn't see in our everyday walk of life. So maybe there be a talking chicken or somebody that have magic powers like in Matilda, okay? Science is another genre. It has made up creatures. It's often in the future, it's very futuristic, or it has technology that hasn't been invented yet, okay? A folk tale or a tall tale is funny stories that have a character or something superhuman. They were not usually written, they were usually told orally, but over the years, in order to keep them passed down and for many, many people to hear them, they have been written. Then you have a myth, which is based on a culture's belief of gods. And then you have fables, which are stories that are told by people to young people, from older people to young people, to teach morals. Okay? You have a fairy tale, a mystery, a historical fiction, drama, and poetry genre as well. But I just want to elaborate on those 6 genres that we're going to go over when we watch this video that we're about to play. But before we get there, I want to let you know that the 6 genres that we're about to go over, can be either written or ridden. Okay, you can read them. So we're going to get into the introduction of the first 6 through our video. Let's see, can I? There we go.
Hey guys, what's up? So I am super into this website right now. It's Generation Genius, and they cover all the science.
Hello, my name is Kylie, and welcome to Literary Genres, Fiction Part 1. Did you know there are over 12 different types of writing? In this video, you'll learn about the first 6 styles of literature that you can choose to read. Are you ready? Let's go! Before we talk about what fiction is really all about, let's learn how to correctly pronounce the word genre. Is it genre, genre, it can be a little tricky. It is actually pronounced genre. It may seem a little odd, but it is pronounced this way because it comes from the French word spelled and pronounced the same way, genre. In French, it means style or type of something. So instead of asking, what type of book are you reading? You could ask, what genre is the book you are reading? Pretty fancy, huh? You may already know that the things you read can be grouped into two main categories: things that are true or factual, and things that are made up in someone's imagination. One way to remember which is to think that since fiction is made up, nonfiction is not made up. The non in the word can remind you of the word not. Some people also like to think of the word that fiction comes from, fictitious. Fictitious means not real, not true, made up in one's mind. So, to be clear, fiction is made up, and nonfiction is made up of facts and claims to be true. There are many types of both fiction and nonfiction. More types. Get it? More types. Typewriter, typing. I know. But we can classify types of things we read into more categories than just fiction and nonfiction. In this video, we will concentrate on fiction. To learn more about nonfiction, check out our video, Literary Genres, Nonfiction. Again, let's just focus on types of fiction in this video. There are several interesting types of fiction reading. There's realistic fiction, fantasy fiction, science fiction, tall tale, myth, fable, folk tale, fairy tale, mystery, historical fiction, drama, and poetry. Let's learn a little bit more about each of the first 6, and then when you're ready for more, make sure to watch part 2 of this video series. Okay, so realistic fiction is one of the most common types of fiction written. The story is made up, but everything in the story could actually happen. So, in realistic fiction, there are no flying lizard monkeys or talking animals. What makes this type of fiction so popular is that it is easier for us, the readers, to imagine the story by putting ourselves into the plot. The plot is the action, or what happens in the story. So, if you're thinking of writing a story about a boy or a girl just like you, or a person, who would be writing realistic fiction? If you'd like to read something from this genre, Ivy Takes Care by Rosemary Wells, and Baseball in April, and Other Stories by Gary Soto, and Black Beauty by Anna Sewell, and all of those are really great reads. Both fantasy fiction and science fiction are a lot alike. They're both entirely made of fake or made up places, things, and beings that are not part of our real world. Fantasy fiction often has people, animals, or creatures that have magical powers. Science fiction may also have made up creatures, but these stories can happen in the past or future and often have machines or robots or technology that hasn't been invented yet. There are so many great examples of fantasy and science fiction stories. Many of these stories are made into great movies, but the books seem to always be better. These stories are often written in series, meaning the author has written more than one book following the same characters and events, evolving the story or the plot. A very popular fantasy fiction series is, of course, the series The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Others include The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. If you like stories about amazing inventions and crazy science laboratories, you may like the science fiction book Danny Dunn and the Anti-Gravity Paint by Jay Williams. Tall tales are some of the funniest and entertaining stories to read aloud with friends. Tall tales are humorous or funny stories that have the main character do superhuman, amazing, impossible things. Imagine being able to pick up your entire house, cry so much your tears make a river, or laugh so hard you can cause an earthquake. Most cultures from around the world have their own tall tales. Some famous American tall tales are The Tale of Paul Bunyan and The Tale of Pecos Bill. Myths are traditional stories that were originally told aloud to explain a culture's belief. These stories often had gods, goddesses, and mythical beings in them. Mythical beings are made up and don't exist in the real world that we know of yet. Do you notice there are a lot of dragons, unicorns, and trolls on products today? Well, they all got their start as characters in ancient myths. Some of these characters were talked about in myths thousands and thousands of years ago, and yet we are still talking about them today. Talk about having staying power. Roman and Greek myths are often read and talked about today. Some of the characters in these myths are ones that you may have already heard of: Zeus, Hercules, the Minotaur, or Athena. Fables are stories told by people to teach lessons to younger people and often have a lot of talking animals in them. They were originally only told aloud and not written down. Over the years, when books became more available, people wrote them down so they could be read over and over again. Aesop was a famous storyteller in ancient Greece. He told a lot of stories designed to teach young people life lessons called morals. It can be fun to figure out the moral of a fable. Today, you can check out books filled with these fables. Many times, the fables were told without telling what the lesson really was. Can you tell what Aesop's lesson is in this famous fable, The Fox and the Crow? You see, the fox really wants a piece of cheese the crow is eating. So he tells the crow how handsome and how smart he is. Then the fox tells the crow he doesn't believe the crow has the best song in the forest, as everyone claims. The crow decides to sing to show the fox he does have the best voice, but he opens his beak to sing. The cheese drops into the hungry fox's mouth. So, what do you think the crow learned?
Now, with back to school right around the corner, I think Grammarly is a must-have for all students out there. Grammarly is a digital writing assistant that caters to all types of people. So, for example, if you're writing an essay in Google Docs or writing an important email to a professor in Gmail, Grammarly will help ensure that you have clear and effective communication. Now, Grammarly's browser extension works seamlessly across the web, making writing easy no matter the site. Now, the free version includes basic spelling.
The crow learned that you shouldn't worry about what other people think and try to prove you are good at something. Doing so, the crow lost his tasty cheese. I bet he learned his lesson. Now we've covered the first 6 types of fiction that you can read and write. Which one is your favorite? Do you like any of the titles mentioned in this video? You can check them out at your local library. And for even more types of fiction writing, make sure to watch part 2 of this video series. If you are interested in books and writing that is true or factual information, watch our video, Literary Genre Nonfiction. To practice what you've learned, be sure to play our fun online game.
Okay, so now that we have learned a little bit about genres, what our activity today will be is to describe to me what you believe your favorite genre is. Okay, we didn't go over all 12, but we did get to 6 of them. And I want you guys to take a moment to just write to me and tell me what your favorite genre is, and also try to find a couple of those books. And now we have Sora, which should be up. I did explain that a little bit in one of my recent blog posts that's under Schoology, or you can get on Get Epic and you can read some books from there based on the genre. So I want you to go through, and if you don't have a favorite genre, maybe get on Epic and type in a genre that we just went over to see if you'd like to, learn a little bit more about them or read some of those to see if they could be a favorite for you, okay? And then next week we'll touch some more on genres. But right now, what we're going to do is read a little bit more of Wandmaker. So get ready because we're going to get into our book and complete our activities.